Hello and welcome everyone. I don't know if you can hear it, but my little 5-month-old is giggling in the other room. Uh, so if that's in the video, I'm sorry. Small apartments, what can you do? I wanted to give you a quick update of everything that I've been working on for the past 2 weeks. Um, Here's my formal report, and then I'll let you guys kind of take a sneak peek at everything that I've done. So, over the past 2 weeks, I focused on researching and developing content for batch 2 of my peacemaking project, which centers on interpersonal peacemaking. So, this batch includes 4 short form written pieces, 2 quote/reflection cards, and 2 infographics. While the content is still in the drafting and refinement phase, research for each component has been completed. Progress has been intentionally paced to allow time for the revision and feedback process coordinated through the campus team that my mentor collaborates with. They're a little bit more slow moving than I had originally planned to be on this project. Since this team meets weekly, I adjusted my production timeline to prioritize high quality sourcing and evidence to support my material. This was probably one of their biggest points of feedback for a couple of my pieces from batch 1. So I revisited my batch 1 content, implementing the team's feedback to strengthen clarity and cohesion. I also applied their design input to refine color selections and logo development, which I'm now in the process of producing. So here's a quick sneak peek. Batch 2 is in the same live document as my batch 1 content, so you can see on quite a few of the pieces I've resolved comments and things. I've left a couple other ones open for some discussion, just about sourcing and other things that they wanted to shift a little bit. I think this was also for sourcing. They just wanted me to add the source that I used for that. So that went really well. Then I moved on to batch 2. So as you can see, I have all of the ideas written out, and I've compiled research and sourcing for each of them. Then I began creating a couple. So one thing that I was asked to include in my content was things about dignity, treating others with dignity. So you can see I did write that piece, and I reviewed it with my mentor. He really liked it. So I wanted to get his feedback and see how he felt about that before I moved on to writing out the other pieces. So that's what I'll be working on next. Then I wanted to work on my infographics. They asked me to create an infographic about the Dignity Index, but as I was looking at their resources, I realized that they already have 3 infographics that are wonderful. And as I discussed this with my mentor in our weekly meeting, he said, that's great, let's not worry about creating our own content, we can just implement what they have. So that's what we'll do moving forward. For my second infographic, I went ahead and created one, which I'll go ahead and show you right here. And this is kind of what it looks like. It's about the different conflict management styles that people typically use, and it's based off of the Thomas Kilmann conflict model. So that's a quick sneak peek at that. Kind of hopping back into here. He also liked that. I do think moving forward, if I create any more infographics or things like that, he did mention that they'll come to me with ideas of what they would like an infographic to be, and then from there I'll design it. So we'll just kind of see if I get any more feedback or prompts on that in the future. Then I went ahead and took a look at the color options. So walking away from previous meetings with my mentor, we had walked away with different ideas for the color. We did end up deciding to go with the muted sage green, and that is the coloring that I used in my infographic. So this lighter color that you see is that sage green. This darker color in the background is that subcolor that we are going to be using for the logo design. And any sort of like visual elements. And then these 2 darker colors are just if we need any other accents or text to be colored, those will be what we use. So with those color selections, I did begin working on my logo. This design here on the right was the one that they wanted to use, and it came from this original idea I had on the left of three people kind of embracing each other. So I started working here in Adobe Express. I compiled different shapes. I don't know if you can see here my layers on the left. And the idea was that just like in Adobe Illustrator, I'd piece together the shapes and then I would cut them and trim them and combine them, right? Like you can with a pen tool. And I realized as I was going along that Adobe Express doesn't have that function. So then I started playing around with like different shapes, seeing like if I could add shapes to kind of create the curvature I was looking for. And you can see that it's not perfect. There's little points and stuff where it should be smooth. So then in a third draft, I got like a heart shape at the bottom that was already, smooth. And then I started overlaying elements on top of it to create what I wanted. And I realized that as I was going, you can see here there's just incomplete sections where I'm not able to get the borders and the lines to work the way that I need them to, just to create these lines that I was looking for. So I am going to be working on that this week, seeing if I can get access to Adobe Illustrator on campus through the student computer labs that they have, just so that I don't have to pay out of pocket to get access to the tools that I need to use to finish this up and make sure that my design is aligned with the brand kit that they have for BYU Pathways and this Disciple overlay. So that's just a little bit of what I've been working on, and I'm excited to keep going. This week I'm going to buff out all of the content or the rest of the content for batch 2 and begin research for batch 3. So I'm excited to get to work on that, and hopefully when you tune in next time you'll be able to see everything nearing its completion.